Well, good evening, New York. I think it's nearly about, or it's just after 8 o'clock. But typical musos, we're running a little bit late because I had to go and find my guitar. And today, so good evening, New York, and good morning, Australia. So I'm actually in Australia. So I've had a few people from America say, "Are you really in Australia?" Yes, I am. You can tell from the accent. However, today I have the amazing Vince Janella and live in, New York on the other side of the world. I don't know, maybe is it maybe 20 hours away from Australia, maybe even more, I can't remember. However, we're going to be talking today about your first guitar. For the guitar heads out there, what guitar actually started it all? Because this little journey that we've been on has been going on for a few years, no doubt, and we're going to be discussing these little things that maybe, or for me, who enabled you to buy your guitar, and also to remind you that this is completely interactive. So, if you have any questions or any points that we're actually talking about, please let me know and we will address it. And there we go. Make some noise. That's my TV show. I need to actually get a spiel up here and say, this is what I'm going to be talking about. And right now, I'm still filling time while Vince is in the background trying to solve something technical. But this is what we do. Only in America. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Doug DeJong. YouTube.com/Doug DeJong. And also, Vince, he needs some subscribers as well. Make sure you go and support that. He's an amazing dude. He's all good to go in the background. So, make some noise with Doug DeJong and Vince. Here we go. How was that for a spiel, man? How you going, sir?
That was great. Excellent.
You say your turn, man. I'll just zoom in onto you.
Okay.
And but how is actually before we talk guitars? How is the situation in New York? Is it?
It's getting a little better, and by little I say little better. There across the board it seems to be getting a little better as far as how many cases of the virus are being daily reported, and also, which is more important than that, the number of deaths. So have all gone down, but
Awesome.
Unfortunately, it's not by a huge number. So there's still people passing away every day, which is crazy.
And we sort of spoke offline the other day. You actually personally heard of like about 25 people that have been.
Yeah, and
Sorry to hear that.
yeah, and I don't even know what day we talked last, but since then, my bass player from my cover band, his brother passed away.
Oh man!
So, yeah, it's crazy, man. It's really crazy.
from COVID.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it's terrible. Thanks.
Crazy.
It wasn't
time.
that old, I mean, 60. 60 is not old by any means. So,
Yeah, right.
wow.
Wow.
But yeah, people are getting through it and dealing with it, and I don't know if people realize, not to be grim, but you're not able to see the person. They're in a hospital bed. You can't go visit them. You can't say goodbye. It's kind of.
Right. So it's an isolated.
Oh yeah.
Last days.
So.
Wow.
But let me shut my phone off so we don't get any distractions.
All right. Okay. Cool. So
and we'll get on to happy, good stuff. Like
yes, I'll zoom into you while I do some sharing. Here we go. If you want to maybe
go for it.
So we're talking about our first guitar, and I didn't want to be outdone today, so I've put my Flying V up.
That's your first guitar, a Flying V?
No. Well, that was my first Flying V. I was actually playing in America. Actually, I was touring. I did a gig on Sunset Strip. Actually, that's the first time I met Phil X.
Wow.
Actually, that was it's a long time ago now. He was playing in the Drills, and I was mucking around there, playing there as well. And anyway, I went and saw that at Guitar Center. I had to have it. So there you go.
That's awesome.
So I'll just zoom in for your guitar. I'll bring it down in a sec, but I'll zoom in if you want to demonstrate your first guitar that started your rock and roll
All right.
career.
Put yourself.
Hey, Wendy. How are you, Wendy?
Hey, Wendy. All right. So here it is. My first guitar. Ready?
Okay. Oh, wow. That's cool.
And
what's the story with that one?
What's crazier is I have my first pick with the guitar. My parents got me this. This is a Global is the company.
I don't know what that is.
I don't either. I think it was a Sears special. Sears is a department store, New Jersey, New York area, Sears department store. It's an American thing. They have stores all over. Unfortunately, I think lately or recently they might have went out of business.
Wow.
Not keeping up with the online stuff. I'm not even sure. They might have closed a certain number of stores. I shouldn't say they went out of business and be wrong about it. I just know the Sears that was local to me isn't there anymore. So
Right. And then with this guitar, like, how did it shape what you do, like the experience with this guitar?
Well, I spent hours on this guitar, and I have another treat. Hold on, I forgot to bring it over here.
Okay, that's
But
cool.
I have
I'll
another
just,
treat right here.
Yeah, looks good. Man, you got some awesome guitars in the background there, man.
Let me move. Yeah, I'll
No,
just
that's all right.
stand here and talk, and everybody can look at the guitars.
Oh, that's sensational, man.
So starting from left to right, we got a Fender.
Yep.
Let's see if we can do this. Whee! That's a Fender. I believe that's a 74 Strat reissue. We got the Nuno Betancourt Paducah signature model.
Nuno, yes.
That one's
Cool.
from the early 90s, from the original run. And
Wow.
of course, we got my hero in the middle there, Randy Rhoads.
Yep, he's a legend.
My other favorite guy, Steve Vai. That's also an original run gem from the whatever year, 87, 89, whatever that was. That's an original run gem, and that's an original run Universe 7. So there you have it. And then a couple of cool things. Animal over there and my laser gun for my Monday night show. And some the lights and my mug. Yes. I see you have the same mug, the acoustic guitar with the notes. This guy.
Oh, no way. No way. You got... Oh, wow. Hang on. Let's do this in stereo.
Yeah.
There we go, man. Mine's an original from Made in China. Yeah, right. Yeah. Cool.
One of my students gave me that for Christmas.
I think my mum gave me that for Christmas.
Oh, that's
I was like, when do you ever use your strange mugs? Only when you're live streaming.
Yeah. I have another one with the blue handle. An electric guitar, which is pretty cool.
Here we go. Sears is gone. Kmart is struggling. Oh, sorry to hear that. Wow.
Ah, okay. So my first guitar pick.
Right.
My first guitar.
Yep.
And my first book.
Man, you're a collector. I should have paid more attention. That's awesome.
So this book is $9.95 now. And when I was playing guitar, it's so old. It's now in color, not in black and white anymore. And when I started, it was $2.50.
Wow.
I'm old. I hear Wendy yelling from upstairs, "Old man!" That's right.
Oh, well.
I'm old.
So with so the story of your guitar, because I don't actually have the first acoustic I actually learned on. You believe it or not, my mum actually. I was inspired by my mum because she played violin and she could play by ear, and I didn't actually appreciate what the hell that process was back then. And now being older, you go, oh my God, she can just hear anything and just work it out. But that came from years and years and years and years of playing in an orchestra, playing violin, because with violin there's no frets, so you have to hear it to find the sound. It's not the other way around with guitar. But anyway, I'm just saying. That acoustic guitar costs $45 Australian, so that's probably 15 cents American right now. But but other than that, I've spent many times, hanging around other people around the family. That's how I got influenced. But what about yourself with your guitar?
Well, from as far back as I could remember,
yes,
Wendy's mom played guitar. What? And I actually have Wendy's mom's guitar.
Wow.
Which we'll get into in a little bit, because that's actually a classic, the guitar that her mom gave me. So anyway, but this guitar in particular, my parents got me because my true first guitar was my dad's guitar. and he had this nylon string. It was a no-name, and I can't remember the company right now, but it was just a nylon string, very wide neck, and I would tinker around with it when he wasn't home from work. I would play around with it. And back then he had this album that taught you guitar. It was a record, which I still have that too.
Oh man, that's amazing.
It's probably over there in my record collection pile, but it had stuff like what is the name of that song? Anyway, just these like old, really cool. Oh my goodness. I should go and look at the comments on Facebook because I have no idea what I'm getting myself into right now.
Oh, right.
But let me hit play and turn the volume down so we don't have feedback here.
Been going on for a few years, no doubt.
There we go. I can hear myself from the other side of the world. That was kind of awesome.
Yes. Oh, there we go. Hold on. There. All right. So now I can flip-flop between some of the comments here. But, yeah, so what wound up happening was I would play his guitar when he was at work, and then I wasn't good. So I was just goofing around, making noise. And one day I got this really bad stomach flu, and I wound up in the hospital for 3 days. And I wanted the guitar. So they brought the guitar into the hospital, and I don't even know how old I was. Hey, Sabrina. I don't even know how old I was. The guitar was bigger than me because it was an acoustic nylon string. I think I was 6, and I'm in the hospital, and I'm jerking around with this acoustic, just basically making noise, and all the nurses would come in and out and say, "Oh, you sound great," just giving me positive feedback, but I knew it was terrible because I didn't know what I was doing. And when I got out of the hospital, for my birthday, my parents got me this guitar.
Wow.
And I spent hundreds of hours on this thing, just learning my notes, learning the strings. And right now it's tuned down to C because the bridge is starting to lift. It's so old. So I don't want it to come flying off. So, I used to spend my time doing the stuff like this. Just making noise, and it sounded good. It worked. Right. So, he got me lessons with one of his high school buddies, who is a very well-known jazz musician, especially here in New Jersey, a local guy, Vic Sanicola. And I took lessons from him for a long time. And then I just kind of lost interest. But Vic showed me all the basics. And, hey. And, I started getting my notes and strings and playing the basic stuff, some scales. But Vic was like amazing. So he wanted me to learn all this jazz stuff. And I'll never forget walking home from school one day. I was walking with this girl, and she had like a portable radio Walkman. It's like showing my age beyond belief. And we're walking, and Van Halen comes on. And it was the first time they played Eruption on the radio.
Wow.
And we both stopped walking and listened to this. Hey, Ryan. Hey, Jenny. So we both stopped walking and listened to Eruption, blown away. And that was it. I wanted an electric guitar. And that's where I don't have the actual first electric guitar that they got me because it was a real junker. But get a load of this guitar. It was an SG body with a Strat headstock. It was like the weirdest Frankenstein thing ever. And I spent some time working on my chops on that thing. But it was warped. So as I started to get better and move up the fretboard, the notes didn't work.
Oh.
So my dad was like, well, you got to start taking guitar lessons again in order for us to buy you a guitar. And you got to sell that one.
How does that work?
So this is like 1970, whatever, 6, 8. there's no, classifieds like online where you could put something on Facebook, whatever, marketplace and sell it in a day. So we put it in the newspaper. Talk about craziness. This guy, on the first day that the ad is in the paper, we get a call from this guy. He shows up at our house. He's wearing like a checkerboard jacket, black and white checkers, right? He's got his head shaved, and he had these like crazy pants, and he was into punk. And he grabs the guitar, and he does like these power chords real fast, and he goes, "I'll take it." So now, sold that guitar, and then we got this guy, which is...
Let me zoom in. Oh, here we go. Hey, Dom. How you going, Dom?
Hey.
And there we go. And so this is your first electric guitar.
My first real electric guitar. This is a Cort Les Paul copy. I wanted a Les Paul because Randy Rhoads played a Les Paul. Of course, we couldn't afford a Les Paul, so I got this guitar. And I was so used to the acoustic guitar neck, I sanded down the back of the neck so I could have that natural satin feel.
Yeah, wow.
And this thing is great. I had it all rewired, and it's an amazing instrument. It still plays amazing after all these years, and it still sounds pretty good.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Well, I've got my Sorry, what's that?
Let's see you have your first electric.
Yeah. So the story with this electric here is when I was 15, maybe 15. I can't remember. So I was again in a high school band, and because we're talking about the instruments that shaped your playing. So here we go. We got Ryan just gave you a message there when he was 17, a Les Paul. And you're welcome, Jenny. There you go. Yeah, so the story with this is I was in a band called Blue Flame, would you believe? So it was named after a American land speed record car. Anyway, this is an Onyx guitar, actually.
Wow.
And I didn't actually. I'll tell you before I show you. So the story is, I went shopping with my father, and back in those days they didn't have a lot of money, so we had to put it on lay-by. So that I don't know if you have lay-by in America. I'm not
same.
Sure.
I get. We have layaway. Same difference.
Layaway.
Yep.
Layaway. Cool. And so I put on lay-by and got this little amp and got this, and I just wanted to, because I saw some other guys playing around who were playing what I thought was blistering fast. So I wanted something that I could play really fast. So anyway, this was it, and then. And the story goes, I'll show you the guitar first. Here we go.
Yeah.
So it's an Onyx. So it's sort of like a Tele. It's only got three, like it's missing the front, like from a Strat, HSH. So it's missing that. It's got a really interesting tone, but 24 fret. And so this is what started my whole ergonomics crush. So with my pinky here, because my pinky here, I can actually point round, you can't really see it there. I can actually point round corners.
Wow.
It's a little bit crooked. Anyway, so my first guitar, I had this amazing access to everything. And that's where I learned all my big shred tricks. And anyway, I didn't have much money to buy strings. So you can see here, because I haven't pulled this guitar out in a long, long time. You can see here, I actually had to pull that string through, thread it through the eyelet, and recycle it. I did that on the gig. Because I was, whammy bar diving, and I was playing guitar by my head. Yes, it is EMGs. Yes, yep, that's it.
Wow.
And anyway, so yeah, it's active in there, but I don't know. I think it might be made in China or something. I don't know, but Anyway, the story goes. So my dad got this guitar for me, and I was like pumped, and I was 15 and wanted to be a rock star.
Yeah.
I was so excited. Went home and practiced. Probably excessively, as everyone does. I mean, like hundreds and hundreds of hours, and then I got sacked from the band. So they said, "Oh, sorry, we got someone else." And I remember did the very first gig we played Pretty Woman or something, and comes up to the little guitar riff thing, and I was like, "Oh, I've got no idea what that is." So I started improvising. So that was sort of the whole journey of that. But anyway, that was the best thing that ever happened to me, because then I just went tech. I just duck dived. Similar to what you said about Randy Rhoads there. When you do get, have a little sad bit, you just put more and more time into perfecting the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
quick question about that guitar.
Yeah. Thanks, Jake. How you going, Jake?
Hey.
Yeah.
Hold it up again. Now, where the neck joins and there's like that plate-looking part where the pickup should be.
Yes.
Is that actually part of the neck, or is that part of the pickup?
That's part of the neck. It's been painted. Yeah. It's part of the neck.
Okay. So
I do believe. Yeah. So
is that how they bolted it in from the back and it sits?
It was painted after the fact. Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool.
It's pretty bizarre, but it's amazing. Like, even to this day, I feel most comfortable, and most people maybe watching now. I didn't know about this until just recently, and you might have a story about this too, Vince. So from the horn, this is the horn, over to the bass here. This here is called the hoop, right? The hoop of your guitar. Now, the Telecaster, the hoop is much more narrower. It comes, fret 15 or something, right? The Tele. But with a Strat, remember the Strat came after the Telecaster. So the Strat had all the ergonomics built into it. So they put a horn on it, because the Tele doesn't have a horn. I don't know where my Tele is. It might be next door in the studio. So anyway, I didn't realize this till later in life, that's my thing. Like, this distance here with a hoop, that's my thing. So actually, even though I got a Telecaster and that, it feels uncomfortable to play. And I've got a PRS. Oh, sorry, I don't have a PRS, but when I play a PRS, I love the sound, but I just can't. Like, it just feels like everything's been shifted, an inch to the left.
Yeah.
Active pickups.
I definitely understand, because the same thing with the Parkers.
Right.
The distance from here to here, and the way they have the straps lock or the strap buttons is it's not on the front.
Oh.
It's
right
back here.
And they would do that because if you pulled it through the horn, it would split the timber.
Yeah, because it's too thin. Plus,
right.
It's very thin this way.
Oh, yeah. Well, Parker Fly, you breathe on it, it moves, right?
Yeah, so you can't put a full length screw through, or it'll come out the front. So they had special screws for these guitars, but
I'll just zoom in on that one, that Parker, on the back of it.
Yep. So.
Wow. That's amazing.
See that it's very, very short to put, a screw through here. So they had a special screw that when Parker first did the original run, the screw head fit into shallow locking strap locks.
Wow.
You wouldn't have to recut a screw for it. But anyhow, getting to your point of this distance.
Yeah.
Plus, with when the strap is on, it hangs.
Yeah.
Which one of us? How about we both play?
I haven't plugged this in for years, so the batteries are flat.
Oh, bummer.
But
I know what
I've got other ones.
Just having it hanging in just the right spot, because that's something I love about the Parkers. And my straps are all cut to these guitars.
Right.
So
you got custom straps.
Yeah. So basically what I did was all my straps fit perfectly on any of the Parkers.
Wow.
I use one strap for all my guitars.
That's amazing. Well, you've got a lot of Parkers, so it sort of makes sense.
Yeah, it'd be a lot of straps to keep track of.
But Jenny wants you to play it there. But anyway, what I'm just getting to the ergonomics. Your first instrument has so much bearing on what feels natural to you, you know. So
Yeah.
I remember talking to John Five, who's played in Marilyn Manson, and he
He's
plays
awesome.
with Rob Zombie. He's an amazing guitar player, amazing. He plays a Telecaster because that's what he used to play, you know.
I know.
The
It's
same,
funny watching him do like the metal stuff on a telly.
yeah, it's sensational. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
But he's fancy. There you go. And what was I saying? And also, I can't remember what they call the distance here between the bridge and the tail.
The
They call
tail.
that the tail.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. There's just guitars that feel right. So my point is, as a beginner, you want to pick up every guitar. Pick up every guitar. It doesn't matter if it's expensive or cheap or whatever, because John Five is awesome. He's cool. A friend of mine he's going to be his guitar tech like right now. He should have been on tour in Australia.
Oh,
But,
wow.
Anyway, I was going to say, yeah. So ergonomics, you can't, because a lot of people. Some of my students come say, "Hey, what guitar should I buy?" Well, the one that feels right to you, because you got to get in. It's like, well, I know there's people who don't own cars being students, but when you buy a car, it might look really cool, but when you get in it, it might drive really badly. So you might have to
Or
do
the
something
interior of
else.
your seats may be terrible and you just don't like sitting in it, you know?
Yeah, right.
But getting to your point about the guitar and what's being comfortable, when I did retail, that was my only question was, I want you to try a bunch of guitars, because people come in and say, I want this guitar. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, and you can try it, but how about you try these guitars as well? Because even though your friend, hey, Angelo, first guitar was a Fender Mustang. Wow.
Oh man, that would be amazing.
I have a friend who had a Fender Mustang, and this guy, his name was Gary, and he kind of mentored me when I was younger. He lived around the block, and he had a Fender Mustang, and he would let me borrow it, and I never got along with it. It was always like, it wasn't my it just didn't feel right. But it was a great guitar, and this guy was something else. He played guitar. He would take your guitar and flip it upside down and play lefty upside down. So the strings were upside down and backwards. And his favorite band was Rush.
Wow.
And he would play Limelight behind his head all the way through. And he would sing. And he had a high voice like Geddy Lee. It was sick. He should have been famous, this guy. It was nuts.
Wow.
But so he was my neighbor, and he would mentor me with things, and show me songs and help me out with PA system and all of that fun stuff. Actually, providing to play guitar. Well, okay, let's hold that question. Let me finish up with Gary. So I had another neighbor who lived a few doors in the other direction, and he had a Les Paul.
Yep.
And he let me borrow his Les Paul every now and then as well.
Ooh.
And it was a Sunburst. Ooh, wow. It was a Sunburst Les Paul. And he was a big Zeppelin freak. So between Dari and this guy Remo, I learned Led Zeppelin, all the Zeppelin tunes, and all the Rush tunes.
Well, you did.
Yeah, they would show me all of these riffs. They're like, oh, you got to check out this. Or half the time I would go over and they would just play albums for me. And they would just play records, because it wasn't like it is now. You could just go on the internet and search stuff. I mean,
Right.
Unless you listened to the radio, you didn't hear this stuff. And a lot of the radio stations only played what was popular at the time. Even though those bands were popular, they didn't play the deep cuts. So you never got to hear the cool, really cool Zeppelin or the really cool Rush tunes, You
Right.
could really listen to Limelight and whatchamacallit, Stairway to Heaven as much as you want. It was on the radio every 5 minutes. But
It's funny.
let's go back to that gentleman's question.
Okay, question. Yeah. So, very good question. Marcus says, how should one approach wanting to play what their guitar influence or idol players. Or Vince, do you want to go first?
Sure. Well, a while ago, when I was a kid, you get hooked on people's playing because that lights the fire for you. And that's great. But what I learned quickly was my two major influences were Randy Rhoads and Eddie Van Halen.
Right.
Now, I really think those two players have a similarity like over here, but they were like this as far as the way they really played. Just left and right, totally opposite players, but had the shred factor in common in the middle. Eddie was a real huge tapper, and Randy was mostly a picker and a classical style player, whereas Eddie, blues player, like on steroids, with rhythm chops like you wouldn't believe. Like if you ever try and play I'm the One by Van Halen, you got to get that shuffle swing bounce or it's just terrible. And that was one thing I could never do. And I probably still really should just say I can't do it great. I just don't have that loose wrist thing that Eddie has. But anyhow, I learned back then that trying to play like those guys to the point where it was obsessive, I would put albums on a record player that my grandfather had, and it was able to slow it down to half speed. And it sounded like it was it was horrible. I was that drove my parents absolutely nuts. I would play Hot for Teacher over and over and over. But at the slow speed.
All right.
It was horrible.
So you're playing warming up for Teacher, not Hot for Teacher.
Yeah, Hot for Teacher. So I guess getting to finally answer the question is I realized that I'm me, and I only have a certain amount of dexterity or chops that I'm ever going to have, and I learned fast that as much as I could duplicate a lot of the stuff that they played, I could never duplicate it 110% perfectly.
Because you are you and they are them.
Exactly, because Eddie Van Halen is Eddie Van Halen, and Randy Rhoads is Randy Rhoads, and I'm Vince Gianella, and that's my story.
Well, I think, to maybe answer that, how should one influence? I think maybe go to the guitar store and just have a go at it. A big thing for me, I just grabbed my Strat.
Yeah.
I think Jenny might like this one. So I think I need a guitar tech or someone here, don't I? So big thing for me about this is a Jeff Beck body. Cool. It's a deluxe fat Strat. It's got the roller nut. This is probably my workhorse. I do most of this thing on. Oh, nice. There we go. Roller nut. Anyway, so besides the sound, I mean, yes, cool. Most guitars will do whatever you want them to do, and I'll get to your other thing in a minute. But the biggest thing is about ergonomics. This is just my take on it. Like, it's got to feel comfortable. Maybe I should do it on this platform one time, is do a little bit of shredding. But do you know how to play? Yeah, I'll give it a go. All down under. But is that from Jenny? There we go. Do you know how to play? Sometimes. Besides the sound, you need to look after this. Everyone's hand is unique. So I've got to handle Alan Holdsworth's guitar when he came to Australia many years ago. And which
one was it? Was it the newer one that he was using, or was it the Strat?
No, the headless.
The headless. Okay.
It was a Carvin back then before Kiesel
came
to life. Anyway, so just for those people just asking about how do you, Mark was wanting to play. So I've got a gem here. I've got a Steve Moore signature. I've also got, this Jeff Beck one. I think I've got someone else's signature series. I can't remember. But anyway, what's all different is this here. like where they put the volume thing, is all to their finger.
Yeah.
And I played Guthrie.
Oh yeah.
I said
Coven.
that you know.
Coven?
Do you know how? I do know how. All right. Sorry, I misread your question. Sorry. Sorry, I'm getting interrupted. But anyway, what you need to do is pick up a guitar, but actually learn how to drive it. You know, actually the ergonomics of it, because there's other guitars. You know, like I don't really use this tone pot down here, so this has been hot rodded. That this is now a volume for the front pickup. So when I'm playing on the humbucker, I can wind that in.
So it's like having two separate volumes, like a Les Paul.
Right. And this here, when I was playing the Rage Against the Machine tribute show, the kill switch. But I didn't know that he had a three-way switch, so he'd be on, off, on, right? So to be on. But because I've got a two-way switch, I've got to go on. You know, I've got to do twice as much work. So I developed this crazy technique, and also do it left-handed when I do that, you know, type thing. Anyway, so I hope that gives a bit of a tip there. You can't please play. You got to pick it up. Like you got to. I will maybe Jenny, but maybe shortly. Yeah, you got to pick it up. And there's another point from Mark here. Maybe so. As an impressionable young person, isn't the visual aspect important as well? I mean, who wouldn't want to look like Jimmy Page and say? What do you think about that, Vince?
Well, getting back to what I said before, Randy Rhoads, Van Halen, Alex Lifeson, and Jimmy Page were probably my four top when I first started. And, my neighbors would help. And once I held the Les Paul and saw that Randy Rhoads used the Les Paul, that's why I wanted the Les Paul and wound up with the Cort Les Paul copy.
Yeah, visuals.
And that was, to me, one of the most important things was I just wanted to look what I thought was cool because of that guitar. And I think that's probably the worst angle to approach it at. Really
Okay.
I think it is, because a lot of that is okay because
Yeah.
a lot of that is because marketing dictates what we should look like, right?
Yes. Visual.
And that's cool. I get it. But I think on the other hand, you really have to know what feels good, what the differences are. Because you just said you have all these different signature models and the volume pot is in a different spot, right?
All of them. Absolutely all of them. Yeah.
And that's one main difference. Now, the other aspect of that is Vi's guitar has 24 frets. Jeff Beck's guitar doesn't. That's a 22 fret guitar, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So the left hand business. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
So now, not only do you have, let's see here. So with this guitar, right, we got 24 frets.
Yep.
And
now let me zoom in. I'll just zoom in on that one. There we go.
And actually, when I think it's still in tune here. Let's see. Yeah. So when you sit down and play something like this, the scale is a different scale length than a Les Paul. So when I went from my Les Paul to this guitar and I tried to play an A chord,
Yep.
This is a longer neck scale, and it's positioned in a different spot of the body because of the way it's bolted on. So the Les Paul is a little closer. So when I went to go grab an A chord, I was a half step off. I had to start getting used to the different length of the neck.
Yep.
So what I tell my students when they're beginners and they're learning and they have a couple of guitars, I'm like, look, it's great that you have a few guitars, but what you should do is stick with one, at least for a week or two, and get used to it. So that way you can play without looking, and you can. If you have to look at your hands all the time, then that's a problem. And I did that on purpose and looked the other way, not to show off, but to prove a point that after you get used to your instrument, you don't need to watch every single thing you're doing because it becomes a reflex and a motor skill. Now, I did mess up in the middle there, and it's probably because I'm, of course, used to the Parker guitars. But this is as close as something like that gets with the 24 frets. And if I went from this to the Les Paul, I'd have to adjust my whole mindset, the way I play, the way I'm reaching for notes, because it's going to be totally, totally different. Totally different. Yeah. So you go now. What do we got?
We got here. Hey guys, this is a great.
Hey.
Love that gem guitar. That's cool. Yeah, I got a gem just behind. Yeah, but I like, so what we're just, for those that have just joined us, we've been talking about your first guitar and how that's shaped you for, actually I should maybe say it's how it's shaped me, but I'm sure it shaped Vince as well. So far we've been talking about, this is called the hoop, right? This is from the horn to the tail, right? Horn to the tail. The Strat was second generation after the Telecaster. The horn comes to like about fret 12. The Tele comes to about fret 15. And just to highlight about comfortability, I'm just sorry, Vince, I'm just repeating. There's a few more people.
Okay for whoever do, sure.
And then we're just talking about what's your best guitar to do, to buy. And the best thing to do if you are buying a beginning guitar is actually like try and drive it, pick it up, and have a feel around. Like ergonomics to you is extremely unique. It's like getting in the car and adjusting the seat. It's just for you, no one else, and it's really annoying for the next person who owns the car to drive it. Anyway, but what you're saying about the left hand, about the neck. So Vince was talking about the neck scale. That's all the jazz head coming out.
Nice.
I love those. Anyway, blah 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 blah. Anyway, my point is, I like what you were saying about the neck and having it like as an extension of self, and there's no other alternative to actually play and play and play. What I tell my students to do, this sounds crazy as a tutor, I say watch TV and practice. Yeah. And so there's the difference here about the practice is it's not music practice, it's muscle memory practice.
Motor skills.
Yes. So try and play the chords with a. But there's C major 7, C major 7, C major 7. Oh, we've got everything's going on. C major 7, C major 7, without looking. A minor. Be alright if I should have warmed up first. Yeah, but anyway, when it comes to that's all the chord stuff. So I don't know what you guys call them in America. I teach the kids, call them grips, just the 5 different grips. Cage grips, and then but when it comes to the motor skills for doing all the blind, I don't know, is this too loud?
Oh.
I can't really see me. Whoa.
Uh-oh.
Well, that cup I was talking about? I just smashed it. Oh no. Oh. That is sacrilege. Mum, you're gonna have to buy me a new one. Oh. That's what happens when you shred on. Well, I've got the handle.
Wow. I'm surprised that survived. That seems like it would have smashed into a million pieces.
It did. Oh my lord. There's the other hub. Anyway, so as I was saying.
Bummer. Okay,
this is funny. Just short scape. Oh, thanks, Jenny. There you go. I was playing the Strat just for you, and this is what happens.
Yes, sir. Shredding is dangerous business, people. Watch out.
Clean up on fire. I need to get wireless headphones, I think. So anyway, as I was saying before, I was like trashing the place. That's what happens when you're a rock star. Is left hand. So when I put the fingers on, I tell the students to go and keep the fingers on, and it's oh no, yes, I've smashed the mug. I have to go mug shopping. This is crazy stuff, but anyway. So yeah, I've smashed my cup. It's all good. I still got my. This could be a slow. Anyway.
I'll send you a picture.
Oh yeah. You've got the same one, mate. Oh wow, that's awesome. Oh well, I was liking that cup. Anyway, getting back to the guitar playing. So for beginners, yeah, you need to like feel the guitar and how it feels in your neck. So that's the next point I was going to talk about, Vince, is maybe what you have, the thickness of the neck. So I really like a skinny neck, and it probably was because of my first guitar is really, really anorexic neck. But the neck has to feel somewhat comfortable that you can get, or see my pinky here.
Yep.
So if you pick up a guitar, I tell people, maybe, around have your thumb in the middle of the back of the neck, and make sure you can put the finger up. Well, just worried about moving around. I got broken glass everywhere. Seriously, on a live stream. When does that ever happen?
Yeah, don't
That's
get
rock
that.
and roll.
No, no emergency room visits.
Oh my god! Thanks, Will. Oh, seriously. Oh man, you have no idea how much broken glass is everywhere right here now. Not to mention liquid. Anyway.
Oh well, I can imagine because Wendy's notorious for breaking things.
Oh my god!
And there's been a few times where he's broken some Pyrex. Take no prisoners. And if you've ever had an experience of breaking Pyrex, it explodes like a nuclear weapon.
Oh, you're talking about the cooking glass.
Cooking glass Pyrex, man. That stuff just explodes. Am I in East Orange? No, I'm in West Orange.
Oh, right. I don't even know what that means.
City.
Okay.
I dropped my pick. Excuse me. There we
Well,
go.
at least it didn't smash into a million bits. Got liquid everywhere.
Yes. But this neck on this court is very thin. Both
Yeah, right.
way and flat.
Cooking is war.
Cooking is war. So I don't know if you can see, but it's
Okay, I'll just zoom in. There we go.
it's a very thin neck. This way and this way. So
That's amazing.
my next guitar after this was a Kramer Pacer Deluxe from 1982, and they were made, and my parents got me that as well, and that has some fun stories behind it.
So we just got a couple of comments here. So
got
Jenny, I've got a C neck, I think. I've got a C neck on mine. I like the really, really skinny one. And cooking is war. The Studio Barn. That's for you, Vince. The Studio Barn.
I don't think I know that place. Where
Okay.
is the Studio Barn? West Orange?
He goes, I'm in Glen Ridge.
What's the name of the place that I know of over in Montclair? The Magic
Yeah.
Door, I think it's called. Studio?
Do they sell cups?
No, they don't. Oh man, you need one of those.
There is a lot of broken glass here. Like,
Oh, poor Doug. That's a bummer.
rock and roll only in Down Under, mate.
That's right.
That's a workplace health and safety situation there. Smashing glasses while we're trying to have a talk. Anyway,
Yeah.
rule number 1, don't take any liquid in your studio. Too late.
Yeah,
Too
me
late.
too. Too late. I do the same thing.
So if anyone's got a new mug for me, please post it, because I don't have one anymore.
In about a week or two, you can go to my website and buy one of these.
Oh, right. Oh, you're going to have to send me one. Simmer down now.
Oh, that's funny.
Shattered Shadoobie.
Yes,
Okay, cool.
that's a Rolling Stones line. I know that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So about the thanks, Jen. There's a lot of broken glass. You have no idea how much crap's on the floor right now. But anyway, merch.
Merch. That's right, Jenny. Merch.
Maybe I should start. Maybe I could start selling Greek mugs, ones you can smash yourself at home.
That's right.
I've just acid tested it myself.
Some more merch.
All right. Oh, hang on. Let me zoom in. Here we go. It's got a Parker Fly on it. That's cool.
Yep. And then the initials to
that's
match.
cool, man.
To
That's
match
very cool. So if anyone else has got any more questions about the very first guitar, those that just joined us, we're actually talking about how the first guitar that you pursued visually, actually we maybe should even talk about that concept again, being motivated to buy something visually, and also more merch, Jenny. Jenny. And also we've been talking about what's most comfortable, and my point is you got to pick it up and feel it, and I guess what were you saying,
Absolutely.
Vince?
I agree.
Yep, you agree with that?
So let me
Visually.
give you a rundown of how drastically my style of what I chose changed. So this, Les Paul has a very thin neck, okay? Unlike a regular Les Paul, which I didn't know any better because the Les Paul actually that my neighbor had was a Les Paul custom, and I really enjoyed that neck, and it was a thick neck, but it wasn't like huge like some of those Les Pauls are.
Yeah,
So,
that's my mum. So she's like, oh, the Blue Electric. So this is my first guitar. So mum actually.
I hope you're just tuning in and you missed him breaking your mug.
Oh, hey mum, I need a new cup because I dropped the freaking thing and I smashed it to bits.
Terrible.
Like there's broken glass everywhere. Anyway, so I need a new mug.
Yes.
So anyway, getting back to visuals, like what about what stimulate? Oh, we got a question here about before we get to visuals. What about pick choice and string gauge?
Okay, so let's go with strings. So I found out, early on that I liked gauge 8s.
Wow.
I love 8s. Reading all the magazines, Eddie Van Halen used 8s. So I really enjoyed 8s once I put them on my guitar. And then I got this Kramer Pacer Deluxe because I got in my Eddie Van Halen phase. But at the same time, I was sort of into the Jakey Lee thing, too. And Jake played a white Strat copy made by Charvel.
Wow.
And I wound up getting this guitar. Give me a second.
Okay, cool. That's exciting. I think you need to give me a second. I need to go get a mop. Like, seriously.
All right.
Anyway, I should actually have a towel somewhere. Too late.
So
All right, let's have a look at that one.
this is a Kramer Pacer Deluxe from 1982, made in Neptune, New Jersey.
Wow.
It says right on the back, Kramer, USA.
Awesome.
There it is. And I haven't played this in years, and it's still in tune.
Wow.
Anyway.
That's awesome, man.
But this thing plays amazing, and the neck is wide. So I didn't get to play this before I bought it because there was so many issues with them trying to get a hold of this guitar for me. I bought it from this little store in, let's turn this, turning it the wrong way. Let's go. There we go. That's better. Okay. So little store called Mascara Music, and it was in, oh geez, maybe Bloomfield, New Jersey, or so, somewhere nearby there. The guys were great, and they had a lot of famous people who bought from them. It was a very famous music store, and Bill was the guy who ran it. He hooked me up with this guitar back then when I was a kid, and this thing is just awesome.
Shirley.
Plays everything, sounds great. But it had a wider neck, so that was a different feel for me, and I had to get used to it. But it also was flatter now than the Court, so it was thinner this way. So this is even thinner and wider. So then I got used to playing this thing, and the action is ridiculously low. Wow. So I had these different morphs of my playing. So this still has 8s on it, probably from the 80s. I'm afraid the bend is probably going to break. But anyhow.
We got some comments here for you.
Yeah.
So it's like a boyfriend. You just buy one and hang on. If you don't like it, try another. Oh my God. And it says here, yeah, Billy Gibbons plays incredibly light strings, but heavy strings intonate better and stay in tune better. Do you have an opinion on that?
I do. And I never believed it. Because I was taking lessons from the jazz guy, and I had 8s on it, and he always thought my guitar sounded good. And one day he asked to play it.
Wow.
And he goes, "What the hell do you have on here? Rubber bands?" And I said, "They're 8s." And he's like, "I can't believe you get a good tone out of 8s." So that was number one. And then all through my musical career, people have said things like, "Oh, no, 8s are no good. There's no tone with 8s." At one point, I read Steve Vai was using 7.5s.
Wow.
So, he has fantastic tone. But anyway, a lot of people have this whole belief that the thicker the string, the better the tone. And actually, they just did a comparison video.
Rick Beato.
Yes. And he totally blew the
science.
The
myth.
The
science. Yeah.
Thinner strings are actually better to record with because they EQ in a mix better. But they are not better tone-wise. It's part of your sound, but also the pick you use, has a different tone to it. Like this pick here is I forget the name of the material that they use for the picks that I got my custom pick made out of. But it's got a very, very warm sound when you hit the strings. Now, Steve Lukather played 8s, I believe, too. Yep. But, the strings, I went through a whole thing where I was using 8s, then I went to 9s, I went to 10s, I went to 11s, switching back and forth. And the only thing that really seemed to make a difference, and you got to be careful when you put these thicker strings on Strats or guitars like Les Pauls that don't have a locking nut, okay? Or like the roller nut like Doug has. If you put an 11 gauge as your first gauge, I don't remember what the string numbers are as they get thicker, but if you put that on a regular Strat that was set up for 9s and you tune up that third string, it'll split the nut in half.
Wow.
You got to watch it. A lot of especially the cheaper Strats, because the nuts aren't that great, and the pressure and thickness of that new string is going to crack the nut. So you got to watch. You can't just throw strings on and go for it. They got to be set up right. So a lot of guys who put heavier strings on their guitars usually take it to a luthier and they recut the nut for a heavier gauge string.
Right. Yeah. Well, my take on it is it comes down to this, what kind of intensity do you play with, So on my acoustic, I play with 11s, which is actually pretty light for an acoustic because usually acoustics like 12s or whatever. But I'm really aggressive on the bottom end. I've actually got scratch marks at the top of the acoustic. It's just must be a down under thing, I'm sure. But but it comes down to the attack. I mean, we've got nines on most of or all of my guitars, I think nines. But that comes down to availability. If there, I could easily get eights, I guess I could get them off eBay. But at the moment, the world stopped, so I can't get anything.
Right.
But yeah, it's just yeah. I think the lighter thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm biased after watching Rick Beato's video because he used the science and he used the same theory as Paul Reed Smith about when energy is put into a string vibrating, the guitar and everything is actually taking away from that initial energy, so the more things you got in the pipe, does it really make it sound better? Maybe not. So, but anyway, he's getting to the point of the more mass, this is what Rick Beato was saying, the more mass there is in the string, it doesn't sound it's clear, but it's subjective, right? Everyone's got an opinion on it.
Yeah, I think so. And like you said, if someone's hitting harder, maybe, and honestly, like to hit harder, I kind of feel like that's also not the best thing to do either, because when you strike the string, if you hit, what winds up happening is the first initial hit, the string is like getting knocked around like this. And then it comes to like a smoother vibration. And it's almost like I'll have students that when they're learning, they're really pressing hard and they're beating the guitar. And I'm like, you got to lighten up because, when you play your strings open and you tune, they're in tune. But when you press down, you're pressing down so hard that, here, just for example, this guitar has ridiculously low action.
That's a good question, Mark.
So if you press down on this guitar, that's good. But now if you press down, let me take the delay off. So now if you press down and you press hard, it goes sharp. I'm not even bending the string. I'm just overly pressing. So here's normal. You hear that?
Yeah.
So a lot of people that overdo it wind up sounding out of tune. And they're asking me, like, well, why do I sound out of tune?
Hey, Andrew.
Hey there. I'm like, well, you got to lighten up on your chords because now that transfers.
Right.
Like listen to the whole chord now with overpressing. And then I have students that when they're learning, they wind up bending the string a little bit because they don't know any better yet, and they're playing scales. And they wind up bending the string. So that also has to do with the intonation and your tuning. Even though you may think it's a string issue, it could be the way people are attacking the guitar.
It's a technique issue, yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because, I don't know, I'm a fan of racing. I like going fast. But, when you have a vehicle or a motorbike set up, you set it up to your touch. So I guess what you're maybe talking about there is people's touch. So if you want to play fast, you have to be light. That's it.
Yeah.
Like that's just it. Like what does Muhammad Ali? Float like a butterfly.
Sting like a bee.
Right. Cool. So.
Or like a murder hornet in 2020.
Oh man, I read about those things. I was like, what the hell is that? Because I'm a beekeeper.
Yeah, you know those bees.
Yeah.
Eat your bees. Watch it.
Yeah, well, hopefully, I don't think we have murder hornets here in Australia, so
no.
But man, that's insane. But we've got a couple. I'll just catch up with these things here. So there may have been asked earlier, but what is your number one guitar and why, Doug and Vince? Well, that's a really good question. But for my live gig, before I break coffee cups,
if you wanna zoom out so we can see it good.
Well, this is probably my workhorse, my Strat, but and why? I'll tell you why is because I think I said before it's like I've got this. This camera's all backwards. This one job. This one here. This is actually a volume pop for the front pickup, and so the tones I can get out of it very very easily, and I've actually got it hardtail locked down so that it stays in tune because I play very aggressively sometimes. I really like that. The reason I got that is because I'm a Jeff Beck fan. It was a Jeff Beck body, deluxe fat strat. You can see these other guitars behind me. I love the Gem. You know, Steve Vai fan over here. Why? Probably because, thank you, sir. Here we go. Just got off a 2.5 with Remco. Good times. There you go. That's Andrew. He's a bit of a legend. Well, she is a legend. And she's a beauty. Thank you, sir. And you'll all need to play a little bit. Yes. This one here, this Les Paul here, this Cherry Burst. I bought that when I was... Actually, my sister bought that in Japan for me. I wanted a Les Paul. If anyone's looking for Les Pauls, they're cheaper in Japan. True story.
Wow.
Because they just sell more. They just... Steve Vai is on Doug Doppler's channel in 39 minutes. Sick. Cool. Thank you for letting me know. So getting to your question there about Will, about... I don't know if I have a number one guitar because it depends what I'm doing, you know. So I have a Strandberg, which I love. The sound. The fan frets took a little while to get used to. So they feel the fan frets feel really good with your left hand. But when you're doing intricate tapping things, and I'm like doing like 2-finger tapping things, sometimes 8-finger tapping things, I don't know, I'll just give it a go. It's really weird because all those years of tapping have just gone out the window because everything's like shifted, and it actually, the ergonomics, it's completely whacked. But I love, here we go, sorry, wrong guitar, there we go, wrong channel. I might do the wide channel. But I love the telly. Why do I love Metallica? I love the sound. I mean, I struggle with the ergonomics of it because it just feels weird with that hoop thing we're talking about. But I love the sound, and I've been playing a mate's 7-string he built. Remco's actually he built that because I just need a 7-string, and it sounds really cool with the Fluence pickups in it. Anyway, what about you, Vince? What's your favorite guitar and why?
This magic blue Parker Fly, and the reason is because it truly is a workhorse, and it has a boatload of different capabilities. So that's the versatility is really super. You know.
Can you do the elbow technique on there? Because I do an elbow technique where I play the guitar with my elbow, and Andrew's just wondering if I have patented it. Good idea, Andrew. Good idea. Businessman. Oh, I'll have to show it to you.
You're gonna have to show me.
I'm gonna try and not break any more things around here today.
Yeah, don't break any more. Not good.
This is Can you hear that?
Oh yeah.
So if I just turn it down a bit.
Yeah. There we go.
There we go. Elbow. Get the bloody cord. Yeah, so anyway, I just filmed a video for a German guy. What's his name? Henning. I just did a remix of a German song, but anyway, true story. So anyway, back to you. There you go. That was just for you. What's this? Vince has a great taste in gems, flies, and UV. That's awesome.
Yeah. Dude.
All right. Yeah. Back to you, man.
So yeah. Yeah, I had the left elbow over. I had the whole wrong technique. I need a cool leather jacket to pull that off. You know. So.
Okay, so about the Parker.
All right.
Your favorite your number one guitar and why?
Yeah, this is my number one because it's super versatile. You know, I can go from great clean sounds. Or acoustic.
That's awesome.
So
Yeah, I like that. So because you've got piezo's and electric guitar there.
yeah, and the tremolo bar is very, very like. Soon as you move it, it moves. So I like the fact that there's no play. In other words, so like when mostly all tremolo bars have some kind of lag time before they do something. So like you're pushing it and there's no bending yet, and you have to get used to that and compensate for it when you're playing. This bar, as soon as you touch it, just the slightest bit, it moves. And the guitars are great. The Parker, the whole design is very, very
Ahead of its time.
ahead of its time by at least 30 years. And a lot of people have stolen a lot of the ideas and put them on. Thank you. Yeah, this is called Magic Blue, MAJIK Blue, and I'll show you the back.
Oh, sexy.
Very aerodynamic, so much like what Doug was talking about before, being able to reach very high up and ergonomic. That was part of the design that Ken was striving for. Was a lot of guys were complaining about being able to access the higher frets.
Did you say aerodynamic?
Yes, sir.
So, well, that's interesting. Playing guitar at high speeds. I like that.
Yes. and the neck is so smooth.
I think because I've already been in chat with you off the scenes about buying a Parker, and man, they're hard to find and they're really expensive in this side of the world. My mouth is watering. He wants a Parker.
Yeah, they're great, and honestly, a lot of people complain about the price, but when you compare them to what's out there, they're really compatible to high-end guitars in there that are less quality and options, in my opinion, than what you're paying for a Parker. So if you pay $3,000 for a Parker and you have like a custom PRS for $3,000 or $5,000 or more, you're not getting, oh, take care. What do you mean bad mood? It's no bad.
The guitar player. Just go play guitar. And
Yeah.
sort it out.
That's it. Guitar changes bad moods. Trust me.
And it fixes coffee cup. Oh, well, too late.
Well, yeah. But the whole thing with the pricing of these guitars, they're expensive. But when you compare them to a custom built PRS or some of the NAG stuff, they're all up there. $3,000.
Cool.
Hey, cool. She's staying.
Yeah, $3,000. Yeah.
It's like any good guitar that you buy that has really, and I'm talking good quality wood, not plywood, not secondary wood. I had a student of mine buy I had a Gibson Explorer, and it was a flat black, beautiful Explorer. And he got the urge one day to make it a project, and he wanted to sand it down and make it wood tone. Well, he didn't know that Gibson uses whatever wood's left over and pieces them together. So when he got the paint off, you know how they glue the wings on?
Yeah.
The guitar was 4 different pieces of wood, the body, when he got it off. Yeah. So he was like, oh. And it actually looked not too bad, because the way it was pieced on, it looked like it was painted that way. So he stained it and left it that way, but he was disappointed thinking it was going to be a nice wood grain. And
that's from Ken Parker.
Wow. Yeah.
That's probably true.
Yeah, I mean, that was it. These guitars, the time that they put into them, basically what he's saying there is the time that they put into building these guitars, at the end of the day, cost $10,000 per guitar, is what it should have been. And he was selling them for, $2,500. So, you find one for $3,000, you're still ahead of the game, because you would have had to pay that, if not more or a little less, depending on the model you got. But
Right.
you know, that's kind of the going price for a quality instrument. You know.
Yeah. $2,500 a steel. That's US, so that's
Yeah.
literally. I think the Aussie dollar is like still in the 55 cents, so it'd be about $5,000 Australian.
Double.
So,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
it sucks. Just
it's expensive, you know, but everything's expensive that's any good.
That's true.
But then you go ahead and say, oh well, Eddie Van Halen built his guitar for $200, and he made a $1 billion career out of it, you know. But oddly enough, he built that guitar for $200, and they're selling them for $25,000. You know.
Actually, you just reminded me. I've got my first electric here in bits. Sorry, not that my first electric that I started modifying.
Oh, cool.
So I'll just let you keep talking about the banana.
My friend Anthony's Parker was a yellow Parker. We called it banana. So yeah, but you know the Parkers are great, and you know if you were to buy a custom Les Paul, you're looking at $5,000 for a custom Les Paul. So this stuff gets really pricey, really quick, and that's just the way it is, you know. Oh, I see. Anthony was yelling banana. I got to get back on the other page. Now I'm like a little behind.
Oh, right. Okay.
But that's okay.
Right. Okay, so this here is, sorry to interrupt. So this here was the, I've worn the frets out on this thing. I don't know if you can actually see. They're like worn flat, some of them. I should probably zoom in a little bit here. So this here is a Japanese Strat of some descript. So this is my very first. Back in the day, I got all these switches on here. I put in myself, and this is how advanced I was. This is like an auto switch. This is a marine switch from boating. So see how that's momentary up.
Yep.
So this is a history of me now. So when I was playing and be shredding away, I'd lean down and I'd flick it up. That was a kill switch. I had no idea that it would be a thing back in the day. Anyway, that was a splitter. But it also is up is momentary and down is on. And anyway, 5-way switch. But I was always plagued by severe hum, so this is what I did. I got out the alfoil.
Wow.
From Mum's kitchen, and yeah. Now this guitar has been all around Australia, and it has been smashed. It has been dropped. Yeah, you can see all the wiring on the back of that. And these are a mate of mine. I can't even hold it properly. There you go. A mate of mine. They're Fender Mustang. These are Fender Mustang pickups. Anyway, the hum was just unbearable. Just couldn't do it. Anyway, the strap, the Steve Vai strap, Damasio.
Yep.
And look at this. Because I didn't have much money back in those days, I had safety pins. Safety pins to hold the strap together to edit the strap. And I think this is a Morrison guitar. And I was endorsed by a company called Ray's Mark. So Shane Hoy, if you're watching. So this is back in the day. I don't know if you can see on the frets here. You can see a little bump. See, and here's 12 frets. See 2 bumps.
Okay.
See? So it's actually they're bumps underneath the frets, right? So when you're playing,
you know
this is extremely useful. So on a gig, when their lights are out, so I can feel underneath here that this is the 3rd fret, right? So anyway,
that's cool.
Yes, got endorsed doing that. If you're okay with getting holes drilled in your guitar because they're like thumbtacks. But you know, it's all clunker. You know, it's a bit so. But man, I used to, I went crowd surfing with this guitar many times.
Wow.
Yeah, but yeah, I probably don't recommend doing that on your Parker.
No, but, I don't do that. Nope.
I think I'm here with a few comments behind here. It's secret up. Yep, cavity shield makes a major difference. I know this looks like crap. With the alfoil, looks like I've been roasting potatoes in there. But
that's great.
I kid you not, it solved a lot of issues for me. And back then I didn't even have a drill, so I did this when I was. Have a look at this. This is like the Eddie Van Halen thing. I did it with a screwdriver and a drill bit. I used a drill to route it, like back in the day, because this was a single, and I used a drill bit to route it out really, really dodgily.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, these days I've got all the tools under the sun to do whatever, and I've got friends who can do anything. Roasted maple potatoes. And yeah, so I'm coming on the show next week. Sure, Jenny, when you're ready, let's go. So, yeah, getting back to the point that this really, really influenced me about how a guitar should sound. And I think even like every major guitar player, I'm influenced by like Van Halen and Steve Vai and even Steve Morse. I've got his signature series over there. They've all like hacked a guitar to bits before they had their signature model made. What do you got there?
I brought this one back on because
Yep.
I forgot
Let's
about
have a
this.
look.
I meant to talk about it, but so I liked the Les Paul idea where you could shut the volume knob off because I was a big Randy Rhoads fan, and he would do the switch trick, back in 1982 on his solos.
Yeah. Yep.
So my grandfather was super handy, and I was listening to the Ozzy album, and I figured out that's what he was doing by moving the toggle switch. And I had gotten this guitar, and I said to my grandfather, I said, is there any way we can wire it so I can do that effect when I switch the toggle switch?
Yeah.
And he said, I got a better idea. And he went to Radio Shack, which is a company that sold electronics here in the U.S., and they're long gone out of business. And they sold all kinds of stuff, wires, switches, you name it, you can get it there. So he comes back, and he has this thing called a momentary switch.
Ah.
You see that right there?
Yep.
So check this out. This is what he did for me. Uh-oh. So, of course, now the guitar doesn't want to work. There we go.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, right. That's what I did on mine. Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
So he did that before there was Rage Against the Machine. I had no idea, I mean, this was like 1982, 83, something like that. I got this guitar in 82. So less than a year after it, I was already starting to modify it. Then I saw Brad Gillis, after Randy died, fill in for Randy Rhoads. And he had this insane pull on his guitar.
Wow.
So we didn't have that on this guitar. So
Oh, thanks,
I
Jamie.
went in the garage,
Yeah.
and took my grandfather's drill press
Ah, let me zoom in. Here we
and
go.
routed that out.
Wow.
And I slipped, and that chip happened.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this whole route around the entire bar, I did.
Wow.
And I used his drill press. I took the whole guitar apart and did that. And if you look, you see the chip on, where did it go? Over there.
Yep.
So first it chipped, and then the guitar bounced and moved and made that scuff.
Yep.
Right.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Yep.
Right there.
There it is.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
I was so upset because this was my baby, I was like, I messed it up. But it's all character, and it adds to the story.
It is. Yeah. Because mine doubles as a stove when I play nice and fast and smokes and roasts potatoes in the body. I put the alpha. But man, I just looked at the time, man. We've been going for ages. So far, we've killed the coffee mug. I dropped my beloved coffee mug and destroyed it. And those are just watching. I've got bits of mug. Anyway,
if you lived closer, I'd say you can come over and visit.
Oh, what's the chances
I
someone
went-
has another mug on this other side of the world? Oh, that's killer. But if anyone's got any more questions, we might. Yeah, I mean, we don't have to, but if anyone's got any more questions, please ask. But yeah, so what else? So we've covered the left hand, we've covered the right hand, we covered. Oh, we didn't get to visual stimulus. So why I got this one? It's white with it had a dark neck, but Jimi Hendrix fan. So he always played a white guitar. Malmsteen plays a white guitar. Steve Vai plays a white guitar. Paul Gilbert has a white guitar. Buckethead has a white guitar. There's many people influenced by visuals.
Yep.
That's simple. Yeah.
Yeah, and the first Van Halen album, he had the black and white Strat, so that was part of this Kramer as well.
Yeah.
I almost striped it up, but I was like, nah, I'm not going to go that far. But yeah, whatchamacallit, Jakey Lee, white Strat.
Yep.
Jimi Hendrix, I was also a fan, white Strat.
Oh yeah, Richie Blackmore. I'm a Richie Blackmore fan. That was my
Blackmore.
first.
Huge. You know, it's funny. I have this album called The Deepest Purple, and that album really influenced me. And on the cover is Richie's Strat, but it's purple. And I knew nothing about Richie Blackmore back then. And what was odd was then I saw some live video of him, and I'm like, he's not playing a purple Strat. It's white. Why is it white? Well, it was the lighting for the album cover. They had the guitar laying down, and there was like sparks of electricity coming out and a purple light on the guitar. So it made the guitar look purple. So for the longest time, I thought Richie Blackmore played a purple Strat.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I just got told by Jake I can go get another mug at the music shop.
That's cool.
That'll be a job for my mum. Yeah, go to my page for Blackmore. There we go.
Cool.
No. But what I was going to say, yeah, for visual stimulus for myself, yeah, I think. Actually, getting back to the white guitar, I asked some people along the way about why they like the white guitar, because it goes with everything. It doesn't matter what they're wearing. You know,
It's true.
it's a fashion thing. I was like, are you serious? But anyway, that's the story they told me. Whether that's true or not, I'm not sure.
Well,
But
so I just want to give a quick shout out here. I know at the beginning we talked about how bad things are in New York, with New Jersey and U.S.
Yep.
and the whole world, whatever. But I just got a text from my friend Jim, and he's the bass player in my cover band. We've been friends for like 30 years. And his brother passed away the other day from COVID. And
sorry to
he
hear that.
texted me and said that Governor Murphy is going to mention him during the press conference tomorrow at 1 p.m. New York, New Jersey time. So if any of you watch and know Jim, have a listen. They're going to pay a tribute to his brother tomorrow, which is pretty cool.
Music makes the world goes, wow.
So I just figured I'd share that with anybody who's on my side watching right now.
Yep.
It's a pretty cool thing.
Yeah, that's amazing, man. And
Yeah.
Wendy's got some more fashion tips. Pia Pink goes with everything.
It does. You know what that's all about, right? The Pia Pink. Did we tell you that? I don't know if we told you about that.
No.
Thank you, everybody. Yeah, the Pia Pink. Wendy decided to, want to learn to play guitar, and she bought herself the Pia model.
Very good.
It's on order, so it's not here yet, and who knows with this whole crazy shipping issues if it'll actually show up in October when it was scheduled to show up, which happens to be the same month of Wendy's birthday, so she's very
Oh.
Now I just got to get her to practice.
Ah.
You got to practice.
Actually, you didn't do maybe the last one. Do you want to do Wendy's mum's guitar? Because we mentioned that we didn't get to it.
So this is Wendy's mother's guitar. Now her brother played as well, and I'm very very lucky or fortunate or whatever. I guess when you play guitar, you attract things like guitars and toys and, gadgets. And I've been very lucky and fortunate to have people give me stuff. She's going to tell you that I didn't give her lessons, and that's why. But we tried. We tried.
If only there was a spare guitar for her to play.
Yeah, there's no spare guitars here. So her brother gave me his Ritchie Blackmore Strat, but unfortunately, I'll show you that when I restore it. Right now, it's a mess because he got it years ago and didn't realize what he had, and had issues with the neck, and he brought it to a music store, and I still think they ripped him off, and they put a cheap Telly replacement neck on the guitar.
Well, I've got one for her if she needs to borrow one.
There you go. But
it's very aerodynamic. You can play around corners.
If you hold it the other way, it'll work like the strap with the hoop. Yeah.
It rocks.
It does.
Literally.
But her brother gave me that guitar, and he also gave me an old he also gave me a Carvin DC. Yeah, I'll show you that one too. Why not? And then I'll show you her mom's, which is awesome. So it's a classic.
Okay, cool. Well, while you're doing that, the other thing that I want to talk about is this situation here is about the paint. Actually, you probably see it mostly here on the this is UV damaged, right? And this is non-UV damaged. But anyway, that's the best thing about owning an electric guitar is that I actually should probably zoom in on myself while he's doing that. I just really like the aging effect. And, you can see it there on the bottom there. You can see the UV, what it's done to the white paint. So I think there's a difference between Olympic white and there's another white in Fender World. I can't remember. You might know, Vince. But anyway, you're not back? You're not back? Here we go.
It's Olympic white.
Olympic white. And what's the other white? I got desert sand because I'm a four-wheel drive buff. And I like the desert and the sand. So I've got a desert sand. Actually, I don't know where my got a Jimi Hendrix Strat around here somewhere. Blonde on blonde, but got lots of Strats, Jenny, lots of Strats. So what do we got there, man?
All right, so this is out of tune because I haven't played it in months. So I'll tune it up real quick.
What brand is it?
This is a Guild.
Wow. Now we're talking. There we go.
And it's a 1967, I think.
Wow.
Guild. And she gave me this guitar. And it's let's see, where is it? It's a K50, I believe, is the model number.
You just been asked to play a standard.
Oh, jeez, I don't. But this thing is awesome. The action is unbelievable. It just plays so good. And again, like, this isn't my style, of guitar, but I really love. It's just got such a great sound unplugged. So anyway, made in Hoboken, New Jersey. Yep. When the shop was in New Jersey in, I believe it was 1967 was the year. It's hard to see in here, but I have the all the paperwork that came with it, and the date was on the paperwork. Yeah.
Thanks, Jenny.
This thing is awesome. And then the flashy guitar from her brother.
Oh.
I have over here as well. Blue, my favorite color.
Yeah, let me zoom in. Just be 1 second. Hang on, here we go. And oh wow,
Yep.
so Damasio's on there.
Yes, I believe. No, actually, these are the proprietary carbon pickups. I can't remember what they are. But
Okay.
again, look at that aerodynamic.
Wow.
You know, I mean, the guitar is beautiful. And
Thanks.
it plays great. Another great playing guitar. The neck is very thin. This is almost exactly like my Parker neck. This thing is so comfortable to play.
Wow.
So it's really awesome. This thing is just like butter. It's got the Floyd Rose. So it's just super guitar. Plays awesome.
We've got a Guilds
Yes,
down here.
the original Guilds were incredible guitars. And unfortunately, you know how things go when they get bought out by other companies and people take over. And,
It's all about the dollar.
yeah. But that thing, again, solid. Plays great, sounds great, and it's just a class act guitar.
What brand of a guitar do you have now?
This
Jenny
is
wants to know.
Carvin,
Carvin.
and I believe it's the DC series. I can't remember the model number. And it's from the early 90s, this guitar. Yep.
Wow.
And it's got a Floyd Rose and a ton of different electronic. You'd love this, Doug, because it's got like so many different sounds that you can get out of this thing with all these little toggle switches over here. So there's
wow.
coil splitting, coil tapping. Let's see, what do we got here? All right. We need
I just need one that has a button to make a new coffee cup.
Oh, the battery might be dead. Yeah, I think the battery's dead in this guitar.
Do you want to borrow the battery out of my guitar?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just send that over here.
We have a question here. Carvin or Kiesel? Well, they're the same thing, right?
Carvin.
Sorry?
This is an original Carvin.
Oh no, what's your preference?
Oh, what's my preference? Well, I've played a bunch of Kiesels at the NAMM show, and they did play very nice. But after getting this and feeling the neck, I think the old Carvins feel a little more what I'm looking for.
Okay.
I played a Vader because that was what I was looking to get. I wanted a headpiece with a smaller body for travel. But the neck on that particular Vader was very big. I was surprised. It was more like a Les Paul-y kind of feel than this sleek. This thing's like, again, like I said, it's very Parker-esque. It's really thin and super fast feeling guitar. Not that Vader wasn't. The Vader was really nice. But again, it was a thicker feel this way. So it was a bigger your neck. And maybe the feel this way was about the same. So it was thin but bulkier in the back, more like a Les Paul.
Yeah, it looks like a DC 127.
Yeah, it might be, yeah. That might be what this is. Again, I have all the paperwork in the case, and I'm just bad with model numbers. You know, it's like...
That's awesome. Here we go. Love the old Carvins. Can't bond with the Kiesel. Tried about 4 different ones and sold them.
Oh, wow. What models did you have? Because, again, you know, I was looking for a company to go with after Parker shut the doors. But honestly, I really don't care anymore that, you know, Parker isn't open or whatever and they're not selling guitars. I really enjoy the feel of the Parker. And again, like we talked about, once you kind of bond with something, it's like relearning the whole everything.
Experience.
You know, the knobs are in a different spot. You know, getting back to your thing with the ergonomics, again, the Parkers, if you were to pick one up.
Yeah,
if I was to pick one up, where did it go?
You've only got like...
I moved it over there. All right, so
that's
like
funny.
all of these knobs are...
Yeah, let me zoom in. Here we go.
It's like all the knobs are very easily accessible, you know. They're
Nice
in a
painting.
row, you know?
Yeah.
So master volume for the magnetic and the piezo. That's this guy. This is the tone for the magnetic. This guy here. I'm sorry, this is the volume for the magnetic. This is the tone for the magnetic. This is the acoustic volume, the piezo volume, and then this is the piezo tone.
Oh, wow.
And this is your toggle for neck, both, and bridge. All right. And then this guy here toggles between magnetic and piezo only.
So, and we've got a comment here is, of course you don't care because you own 50% of the country's parkas.
Yes. I'm
You know what?
a part order.
Yes, that's what I've never understood is why doesn't anyone come up with, you know, how amp switching is done by the button.
Yep.
You know, the mechanical circuit switching. Why don't someone come up with? I mean, technically, I already do this in the I guess the pod. What do you call it? The line 6 guitar.
Mm-hmm.
It changes, but you know, like when you hit a sound, it should change to your pickup for you. You don't have to do it. That's your address. Yeah, but anyway, that's just my idea. Maybe I'm just lazy, but
Well, check this out. There's something in the Axe-Fx which I haven't gotten to yet,
wow.
but I have to investigate this. So there's a thing in the Axe-Fx where it detects the pitches of the strings where you're playing frequency-wise, and it will actually, if you assign it, what they call them, they're like control knobs. So it's like having a roadie standing by your amp. And as you play higher, the gain increases.
Yeah, wow.
So as you're playing higher and higher, the gain knob gets turned up by a little internal controller. And
Wow.
when you go back down, it comes down to more of a rhythm gain.
Wow.
Yeah, and they have this assignable to basically anything. You could assign it so your delay starts to come in louder up here and get more mixed out so it's a straight rhythm sound, or your reverb could come in. And you could assign this modifier to do all of that at the same time. Increase your gain, increase your delay, increase your reverb, so you're now in a solo preset basically by moving the area of your hand.
Yeah. Thanks, Dave. Yeah, I really like. Maybe we should do a live stream on the Axe-Fx. I don't know Axe-Fx. I actually have a Helix.
Okay, yeah, we can do that.
Because when I'm recording, here's my studio here. So when I'm recording, and I design the sounds, because these days, unless I'm using my wah, I actually record DI.
Okay.
And so whatever sound I dial in, I can actually go copy paste and take it on the road with me.
Oh,
You know?
nice.
Yeah, so the sounds don't change. But I guess, you know, you can do that with Axe-Fx as well.
Yeah,
But,
it's the same idea, I guess. You know, you could save it, and then you can copy now because of the FM3. As long as you're not using a huge amount of processing power. So like normal stuff, you can totally swap between the Axe-Fx 3 and the FM3.
Right. Mm.
So
That's cool.
if the FM3 is your road rig, let's say, you can totally have your sounds in both. Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's very, very, very cool.
Technology
All right,
is amazing.
Yeah, maybe we should do that next time. Is talk about tech application.
Sure.
Yeah, that'd be cool. All right. Well, if anyone's got any more questions or any more comments, please make them. But it's been cool, man. Like I'm really enjoying, you know, swapping knowledge. You know, having a knowledge exchange. You know, I'm on the bottom of the world. You're over here somewhere lost in near New York, of
Yes.
sorts. Which is, and who has his own coffee cup? Seriously, you know what? I'm going to get my own coffee cups. I'm going to buy a 6-pack, so if I keep smashing them, it's all good. I'll have some spare ones.
Well, I think the minimum order was 5 or something like that, and
I
I
need to buy.
gave a couple to students. I have this one, I had one for Wendy upstairs, and I gave one to my mom. Well, we broke the one upstairs, and now this is the last one. So,
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
oh no! There's stuff breaks here almost every week, so
I'm so baffled that the handle didn't snap.
That's amazing. To me, that's the weakest part of the mug. Like, I'm always afraid.
It's a guitar, man.
Yeah, look at that.
It bends notes. It's almost like a telephone. Hello.
Wendy's yelling, "Hey!" about me telling everybody there's always something breaking here.
All right, then. All right, man. If you want to stay on the line for a sec, I'll just say. Oh, do you want to mention your socials?
Oh, sure. So, VinceGinella.com is the website, and you could find everything there. You guys, we love you too, Jenny. Thank you. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sharing our stuff. Thanks for sharing my Monday Night Live to anybody who's
yeah, please share. I keep forgetting to say that. Please share.
Every Monday I do this thing. I've been doing it for almost 2 years now, and my wife is a in-house fan. She's always here, and she takes care of all the comments, and she shares it. So does Sabrina. Sabrina's a super help with that, and Jenny. They all share my stuff. They're fantastic. Will, thank you. Thanks for hanging.
Thanks, Will.
I'm glad you guys aren't bored.
Yes. That's good.
But
there we go.
There, see? Sabrina.
There's a name drop.
Yep.
That's awesome.
So thank you. And every Monday I do an hour show that has basically a mix of originals and my favorite cover songs that I play as instrumentals because I don't sing. So.
Yeah, right. That's good. Your Gibson Epiphone, is that you or?
Gibson Epiphone. I actually don't own an Epiphone. If you're talking about this guy off to the right or left, depending on what side of the spectrum, this is actually a Guild, in case you missed that before.
Yep.
Thank you, Sabrina. And the other guy over here that looks like a Les Paul is actually a Cort, and this was my first guitar, and that was what the topic of tonight's episode was.
First guitars.
First guitars. So
we should call it First Guitars and Smashing Cups.
Yes.
That's what we should do.
It could be a good a good band name, Smashing Cups. I mean, it worked for Smashing Cups.
Well, yeah, that's a good idea.
Smashing Cups.
I'm always smashing something. Actually, I'm addicted to burning things. Always having. I shouldn't have probably said that.
Living in Australia, dude.
It's true story. True story. Actually, I'll tell you some crazy stories offline. But
okay.
But anyway, we better go. But thanks, Ron.
Have a great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Todd is watching. Todd's amazing drummer. How you going, Todd?
Hey, Todd.
And anyway, I'll just pull you from the feed, man, and we will.
Sounds good. Good night, everybody.
See you soon, man.
Yep.
So please make sure you like and subscribe. Everything that has anything to do with Vince. And there's my YouTube thing. Look at that. I go to all this effort to get all this stuff done, but I keep forgetting to use it. So yeah, please make some noise. This is my TV show. Make some noise. I actually say that all the time I do a gig. True story. So if anyone's out there and you've got a new coffee cup, please let me know. I need an endorsement. I need a coffee cup endorsement. I actually smashed mine tonight in America, because there's American chat. But anyway, like and subscribe. I need some YouTube subscribers. I need 1,000 of them, please. And anyway, I'll just go through these comments. Hey, Todd. There we go. There's Todd. And there's Jenny. See you, Jenny. And have a safe weekend. Thank you very much. And good night. See you. Oh, yeah, and Vince just gets his own comment at time. And I can't pull myself